Saron Things, a pop culture podcast where we laugh our way through this week's trending topics. I am Saron Al-Kaba, and boy, do we have a lot to get into this week. First of all, apologies for delivering this episode a couple of days late. I was waiting for my new podcasting equipment to come in, and I'd rather deliver high-quality audio a couple days late than give you something janky on time. So hopefully you're getting this episode before the weekend is up. But to dive into our pop culture topics for today, I'd like to start with Summer House. Specifically, Kyle and Paige got into it this week, and it was kind of a joy to watch. It should come as no surprise that I believe that Kyle is being a bitch baby, because on what planet is it appropriate to text Paige any of that? Hannah is obviously not lying. You want us to believe, Kyle, that she did an ad with one of your competitors, and you were just like super chill about it? So we're currently watching you in the literal exact same situation, this time sub out Craig for Hannah, and you're losing your motherfucking mind. So yeah, I believe Hannah. And if you care so much about your differing perspectives on how, her exit from Summer House went down, why not give her a little ring? Why not have a conversation with her? Because rage texting her business partner is not the way to do it, because what were you even trying to accomplish with that? Did you want her to get on to Giggly Squad and say, you know what, actually, I'm so sorry, Kyle. I completely got this wrong. It was my Q score. It was my shitty Q score. No, that's literally never going to happen. And also, think of your motherfucking wife, okay? Amanda is holding on by a thread. She's holding on by a thread. You can tell that she really values her relationship with Paige. Paige has, been stressing herself out, trying to juggle these two relationships without alienating either party in terms of Amanda and Hannah. And I think she's done a really good job of it. So for Kyle, who is essentially, Kyle is to Amanda what Paige is to Hannah, and Paige is, tying herself up in knots, trying to make sure that, everybody feels okay. But Kyle is just sitting here just trying to feel all of his feelings and just like wants to talk about how slighted he is, not thinking about, it's not just about you right now. Your feelings might be hurt, but think about your wife, Amanda, because you bet your bottom dollar, I bet, okay, you know what? My thought is Amanda would be friends with Hannah again if given the opportunity, right? But I don't think, as long as Amanda and Kyle are still married, that it's a possibility for her to be friends with Hannah. And I don't know how long their marriage is for this world, TBH. I think that Kyle really, really loves Amanda. I think he's obsessed with her. And I'll even go as far as to say that when he did cheat on her prior to them getting married, when he made out with that random girl, that he was blacked out. And when he says he doesn't actually remember doing it, like, I believe that he doesn't actually remember doing it. I don't think he's out here in these streets trying to get with other girls, but I do think that he's kind of an egomaniac, and he's overly emotional, and he doesn't know how to regulate himself, and he's also kind of selfish. So it's just, and Amanda is just trying to get through it. She's just trying to survive. And Kyle's like, oh, I just want to know where Paige stands. I want to know if she believes that I'm the reason why Hannah isn't on the show anymore. And of course, we saw Paige look at Sierra and say, and we saw Kyle be interviewed and he lied through his teeth. So obviously, Paige believes the same story that Hannah does. And her justification for why it was his fault was, he wouldn't make up with Hannah during the Summer House reunion, where she completely got just annihilated over abso-fucking-lutely nothing. By not making up with Hannah, Kyle kind of signed her death warrant on the show. Okay, whatever. Like, Hannah is doing 10 times better than you could ever imagine. I don't think her career would be where it is right now had she actually stayed on this show. So it's like the biggest gift of life. But also, I'm down with holding a grudge. So I don't I don't know. Speaking of Hannah, our sweet, sweet Hannah got herself into a bit of trouble this week at her hosting gig at the Vanity Fair Oscars red carpet, specifically in her interaction with Meghan the Stallion. She said something along the lines of, your music really makes me want to fight. Like, it just makes me want to fight. And is that a microaggression? Yes. Yeah, it is. Do I think she was being intentionally microaggressive, Hannah? No. Do I believe Hannah to be racist? No. Do I think what she said was stupid? Yes. I think it was dumb as hell. Dumb as hell. But also, there's really nothing you can do in that situation where you put your foot in your mouth like that, especially the way that, especially since it was so clear that, that Megan the Stallion tried to redirect her several times. She's like, okay. Hannah was like, oh, when I hear music, I want to fight. And Megan the Stallions are like, well, when you want to stop fighting and start being a bad bitch, then you listen to my music. But Hannah was like, but I still want to fight. And I don't. It was not great. Hannah was not. It just was not clicking for her. So she did release an apology. She did it on her stories, and she also said it during the intro to the Giggly Squad podcast this week. And I think she meant it. I do think she meant that shit. She didn't make excuses for herself. She wasn't like poor me. She didn't cry about it. She didn't make herself a victim. She wasn't super self-deprecating. She said, I fucked up. I wish I had said basically any other word. And she acknowledged that it was not the right thing to do. And I don't think she'll do it again. And if she does, like, that'll be a problem. But at this point, I'm okay with moving on. So, and maybe, of course, I have a soft spot for Hannah and Paige because I am a giggler. I've been listening to their podcast for years. I love those two girlies. So I think it's not just watching them on television for those years. And like, I feel like I've actually gotten to know them through their other content, whether it be Hannah's comedy or the podcast. So I do have a softer spot for them, but I understand if other people, other women, other Black women especially, are like, I'm cool off of this, right? That's the risk that you run when such things occur. But hopefully, with time, people will see that that moment was not reflective of who Hannah actually is and how she feels and what she believes. And she'll be able to move on past this. I don't think this is going to be the end of her career, but I do think it was a very important learning moment for her. She's going to be a little bit more careful about the words that she chooses, and a little bit more intentional about the way she interacts with people from all backgrounds. It's all fun and games until it's not. And I only wish her the best, and I believe that she's not going to let me down. Don't make me look like a dumb bitch, Hannah. I'm watching you. Love you. But that's all really I have to say about that. Paige during Hannah's apology was moop, moop, zip, zip, she had nothing to say. Silence. Silencio. There was nothing to add. And I respect that, Paige. So Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively news. There was a story that came out about Justin Baldoni and his overly positive toxic work environment. He creates a toxically positive work environment, right? That was the crux of this news story. And I have just such a hard time believing that it was Blake's team that planted that, because it's obviously just like such a nothing burger. And she must know at this point that the more like nothing burgers are shoved down our throats, the less open the public becomes to hearing anything from her. Anything. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that he's all peace, love, and kumbaya. So, do I believe that Justin Baldoni creates a toxically positive work environment? Maybe. I think that's the way it could be interpreted. Like, he is painfully earnest. Like I've said several times before, he is like a feelings guy. He's a close talker, I would imagine. He wants to know you. I mean, you heard that voicemail. He's that guy. He's that guy, and that guy's not for everyone. That guy is not for everyone, but that guy is not a creep. And I would rather have that guy than the alternative of that guy. Some like toxically masculine chauvinist asshole, right? Uh, Pick your poison. And honestly, there's been a lot of discourse about the male feminist and whether or not, whether or not you can trust a male feminist. Mexi? Apologies. I have a foster puppy currently. His name is Mexico. I'm not fostering him. One of my neighbors is, but she's out of town for a couple of days. And Henry is with his dad. It's his dad's weekend. So I said I'd take him. His name is Mexico, and he's the cutest fucking thing. You want to say? Oh, Mexico. He's the sweetest baby. Oh my goodness. You got anything to add, Mexi? Oh! Oh my goodness. All right. Anywho, back to what we were discussing before. Trusting male feminists. We can't trust male. Okay, so that's the discourse that's been happening is can we trust male feminists, right? And I see why people would doubt, you know, a wolf in sheep's clothing and all of that, right? People have been known to cover up their ill intent and their true feelings and their true, desires and their true actions by presenting as like this feminist guy who is, only looking out for women when in all actuality, they're the exact opposites. Like that is a man that exists. But to deny that it's possible for a man to be a feminist or a man to be an outspoken feminist, to deny that that's even a possibility, I think puts us in a pretty dangerous spot because we do need men to be outspoken feminists. But of course, we need it to be something that's real and sincere and rooted in actually wanting to change, this patriarchal society that we found ourselves a victim to, men and women. So it's complicated. There's this one male feminist online. His name is the what is his name? His name is Ex Patriarch, and he's blocked me on TikTok. I think it's because of all of my Blake Lively discourse, because I've been very vocal about how I feel she's tried to manipulate the public, and she's been using this legal case as a way to kind of regain her reputation that was ruined by none other than herself. And she's doing it in a very despicable manner. So I've been very vocal about that, and I don't think he likes it. So I just think it's funny when you don't like what a woman is saying, you kind of just like block her out. That seems like a weird thing for a male feminist to do. So I look at that with kind of a side eye. If at the end of this, it is found that Justin Baldoni is found liable for retaliating after Blake Lively made her claims of sexual harassment, whether or not those sexual harassment claims were true, that is a possibility. People don't care about the retaliation if the sexual harassment didn't happen. So if he is found liable of retaliating against Blake Lively after she accused him of sexual harassment and the sexual harassment turns out to not be true, then that's where Blake Lively has a big problem, right? He could still be found liable even if she lied because of the retaliatory nature of his actions, allegedly. So it is complicated. It is very complicated. I don't know. I think she's lost in the court of public opinion already. I think that is over and done with. Planting stories in the news about Justin Baldoni's toxic positivity, or him being like a little too crunchy or kumbaya, or about feelings or talk about feelings and stuff in the workplace, like that's just not going to cut it. And the more of these kind of nothing burger stories that keep popping up in the press, the more people are going to keep rolling their eyes, and the less, like I said before, the less willing they'll be to hear any of her story or believe it. I think a best case scenario for Blake Lively and her camp right now is that everybody remains silent as hell until March 2026. And although I don't believe that is what's going to happen, we're currently waiting for the judge to rule on the for lawyers' eyes only portion of the protection order that they're looking for over discovery. From what was said on that call that the judge made public, it does not seem like Blake is going to get there for the lawyers only order. And if you didn't know, she wants it so that the defendants in this lawsuit are unable to see the text messages between her, Ryan, and other celebrities through the discovery process, which is atypical. So that means that like Justin, Wayfarer, et al. Wouldn't be able to see any of that, just their lawyers, and I guess vice versa for Blake Lively's lawyers, Blake Lively and Justin's communications with the famous. But obviously the stakes are a lot higher for Blake Lively in this circumstance. These are text messages with with Taylor Swift. Everybody wants to see those texts with Tay Tay. I bet you Taylor doesn't want us to see those texts with Tay Tay. I've said it several times before, but I'm happy to eat my words if I'm wrong. But I don't think that Taylor Swift knew the extent of Blake Lively's manipulation or what she was trying to accomplish on that set. Truly, I I don't know. She was in the midst of a world tour for the entirety of this production. She was a little bit busy. And also, we can just refer to her music lyrics for how she feels about these things. Like I said before, she likes to keep her side of the street clean. Okay. Drop my name and I owe you nothing. All right, that one's a good one. I think she's like bigger than whatever it was that Blake Lively was trying to accomplish. And Taylor Swift moves with the confidence of a woman who doesn't play these kinds of games. She's so successful. She's a titan of her industry. And it's so funny that Blake Lively compared Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift and like being titans of their industry. They're not the same. They're not the same. Those two dragons are not the same. One is a dragon, one is dragon, and one is like a Komodo dragon. One is a little teeny tiny, and one is like, I'll kill you. Okay? And I know which is which. The big one's Tay Tay. So I don't know. I think that she's got that part a little twisted. I wouldn't like that either. I would have said, you got me all the way fucked up. You're comparing me, Taylor Swift, and Deadpool? I can't. Oh, and another thing about It Ends With Us that I thought was actually kind of interesting, like something that made me chuckle thinking about. It's like the irony that after using the thread of not marketing It Ends With Us as like the leverage to get what she wanted, after the studio had already invested so much money and time in shooting her, she's now unable to properly market Another Simple Favor due to the backlash of her threatening to do the thing that she can't now really do. You know what I mean? Like, that's funny to me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of her marketing Another Simple Favor, she just did the red carpet for South by Southwest yesterday evening, I believe. She walked it with Anna Kendrick. You never really see them interact. You could not tell me that Anna Kendrick fucks with Blake Lively. You cannot. There was a moment when a reporter asked Anna Kendrick, how was it work with Blake again? And Anna's response was, oh, that's it. Oh, Oh, And that's really all she had to say. I think that Blake Lively looked beautiful. She was doing very 1950s look. She looked like kind of a cup of boba milk tea, like maybe a Thai iced tea, boba milk tea. It was a latex 1950s look that had like this like rip-off latex kind of button-down taupe colored situation on top that she whipped off and had this like strapless similar latex vibe dress that was like 1950s modern. I don't know. It was a look. She looked beautiful. Obviously she looked beautiful. She always looks beautiful. She looked frenetic, like happy, gotta be happy, gonna be happy, gonna say happy, gotta look happy, don't look sad, don't look sad, don't look sad. That's it. That's what I could see playing through her head. She was so like saccharinely nice to everybody that crossed her path, and good for her. Keep on keeping on, keep on doing that. I don't think we'll be seeing very much of her in the future. I don't know how many more press obligations that she has. I think that, it's got to be tough. All of the comments and all of the posts about Another Simple Favors premiere at South by Southwest is just like, oh, it's nice that she didn't put Anna Kendrick in the basement. Which is, funny and fair. But Anna Kendrick doesn't strike me as the type of lady who would allow to be put in the basement. You don't put Anna Kendrick really anywhere. I can tell. It's just so funny because they seem to have like the most opposite, such opposite personalities. Anna Kendrick is giving dry, somewhat acerbic, Poindexter vibes, but like in a cute way. I enjoy her as much as like I can't enjoy someone whose films I'm not really familiar with. But she does give far less annoying than Blake Lively. All things considered, she did good. Moving on. Next topic I'd like to discuss is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. Okay, have you guys noticed that we have been inundated with images of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner doing all the family stuff? They're all around town. They're paintballing. They're getting ice cream. They're at the school. They're on a walk. They're looking, suburban and nuclear as fuck. Okay, that is some nuclear family shit that's being shoved down our throats. And I doubt it's like on purpose. I don't think these are people who like need any extra publicity. Ben Affleck hates to see a pap coming. That being said, there was a day where the headline was Ben Affleck obsessed with Jennifer Garner, still holds a torch for Jennifer Garner, would love to give it another shot. And I I cannot believe he would dare. Okay? Because do you guys not recall that he literally blamed his alcoholism on her being a boring ass bitch? He said, I don't know if it was with Diane Sawyer or I don't know. And he said something about how their life together was just so mind numbingly boring that he had to turn to the bottle. Mm-hmm. You can't get back together with that man. You cannot get back together with a man who said that about you. You had 3 of his kids, and he said that all you provided him was a life of boredom, and then he left you. The fuck? No, you can't do that. You know what this kind of reminds me of? If she does get back together with him, which she won't, because literally it couldn't have been more than a couple hours after we saw those headlines saying Ben Affleck still holds a flame for Jen Garner. We saw other headlines come out saying Jen Garner not interested at all in Ben Affleck. It was very much just like, hey, check yes or no. Do you like me? Middle school shit. Except in the press via their publicists. And she checked fuck no, because that's a smart lady. Okay. If she had gotten back together with him, I would have thought of her the same way as I do Bahati Prinsloo. Because after I found out that Adam Levine was contemplating naming his unborn child after his mistress, remember Sumner Gate? Do you remember Sumner Gate? And they stayed married. That is on some I'll never forgive you again shit. I will poison you slowly. If you think I've forgiven you and you think we're happy and back together, that's a cover for me just slowly poisoning you so that you die a very slow and painful death, and they'll never fucking know. They'll never fucking know, because I'm playing the long game. Because how are you going to play in my face like that? I am literally cooking your baby. I'm cooking your child. You're not only cheating on me, you're coming to me with your mistress's name saying, hey, babe, let's put that on the short list. Let's put that on the short list go fuck yourself. You're demented. That's sick. Adam Levine is a sicko. And I don't know. I will never be able to get past that. Roman Empire, Celebrity Edition, Sumner Gate, Adam Levine, fucking freak. Anywhoozle. Next topic. Are we still using petroleum-based candles? I thought we had all moved on past this. Guys, those are just cancer bombs, okay? It's literally cancer smoke filtering into the air through your homes. Stop it. Stop. Soy, beeswax-based candles only. Organic products, okay? And I'm not that crunchy bitch. I don't care. But I do like to mitigate health issues when they're slapping me in the face. And one easy way to Mexi? Oh yeah, he thinks y'all are trifling too. Oh my god, he's blind too, guys, by the way. I don't know, not to fetishize handy capableness, but that's some cute shit. Have you ever seen a tiny fluffy white dog run into everything? It's adorable. I can't keep him though. I can't have 2 cats and 2 dogs on 570 square feet. All right? I know what you're thinking. Get it. Mexico. Don't do this to me. Yeah, petroleum-based candles. Stop being dumb bitches. Beeswax and soy only. Please. Please. That's it. Like, uh, there aren't. I don't know how many of you are listening, but if you are, I love you, and I'd prefer if you didn't die of something preventable, like cancer caused by those janky ass candles that you are lighting. And I don't want you. I'm not talking about like a mix. I don't want a mix of petroleum and beeswax. No, 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 no. We're talking pure beeswax or pure soy. All right. Next, porcelain veneers. I was listening to the Bitch Bible podcast, and she had two guests on, and it's ratchet as hell that I don't remember their names. I don't. Anyways, they brought up something called porcelain veneer breath, right? Is that a thing? I have never heard of it before, but the second they said that like food particles get you know how like when you get porcelain veneers they shave down your teeth to like little spiky nubs, and then they craft the veneers around them, and just so when you get veneers you're saying bye bye to your original teeth, that they're gone forevsies, gone. You are shaving your adult teeth down to little nubs, to little spiky points. Your teeth, your teeth that you only get two sets of, and the first one's already gone. Oh, girl, I will never fucking understand. Anywho, if that's not bad enough, apparently the food gets stuck, the particles get stuck in like the spaces between your like nub spikes and the veneers, and it starts to rot, and your breath smells terrible. And I don't know. Is this a real thing? If it's a real thing, does Hollywood just smell of rotting food particles? Oh my God. I don't know. This is just really a question that I'm throwing out there. I have plenty of listeners who live in Los Angeles, plenty of people who follow me that live in Cali, where veneers seem to be this like epidemic. So just someone slide into my DMs and tell me if this is something that you notice. Like if anyone was working at like award season, like did that red carpet could it just like knock you out the scent? That and like, I don't know. Someone let me know. Oh my God. And the one last thing we have to talk about is Meghan Markle and the Blake Lively comparisons. I put out a TikTok that's getting a lot of traction about what the difference is between Blake Lively and Meghan Markle. And this woman put out her own TikTok that prompted me to respond asking, why is it that I'm allowed to dislike Blake Lively, but if I dislike Meghan Markle, I'm automatically racist? She said specifically, if I dislike Blake Lively for the exact same things, and the exact same things were that she likes to be admired, they both like to be admired, they're both like self-centered and whatever. Blake Lively wanting to be admired is not why the majority of people have a problem with her. People don't like her not because people don't like her not because she's self-centered or she likes herself too much or she admires herself too much or because of her word salads even. It's because she lied about sexual harassment to regain her reputation after behaving like a dumbass on a press tour for a movie about domestic violence, completely ignoring domestic violence. You are absolutely allowed to dislike Meghan Markle, obviously. And Meghan Markle is not perfect. I think she can be kind of saccharine. Do I find her painfully earnest sometimes? Yeah. I think that she doesn't have a chill bone in her body. You know what I mean? Um, she's she's like she's like she is Miss Goody Two Shoes. And I think that's why that's not something to despise, you know? She's just a little sweetie. And I don't you can't cite her being honest about the racism she experienced living as a royal as a reason why you don't like her. That's insane. That's why people think you're racist. She experiencing women who are introduced to the royal family experiencing a hardship from the royal family themselves and the British press is nothing new. So to suddenly deny that Meghan Markle had anything but a wonderful experience as a working royal is absolutely insane, and it begs the question: what's different with her? Why not believe her? And it's probably people are going to be met with the answer because she is black, right? People compared her first child to a monkey in the British press, guys. Fresh Out of Compton was a headline, was one of the first headlines about her after they got married, or after she was introduced as his probably his future wife. The show, it's a cooking lifestyle show. Why did she get a cooking lifestyle show? Because before she became Harry's wife, she had a lifestyle brand of her own called The Tig, and you might not have heard of it, but it was fairly popular, and she did have an audience. And she still has an audience, right? Because As Ever, or what was it called? As Ever is her brand, right? Yeah, what was that called? With Love, Meghan just got greenlit for a second season on Netflix. So, yeah, she has an audience. She's had an audience. She's always been this like lifestyle girly who cares about like aesthetics and presentation and curating a home and a garden and blah blah blah. Like that's it's not a particularly unique set of interests, but she's always had them. She now has this opportunity to have a show. People are watching it. Who cares? Out of touch? Who the fuck cares? Is Ina Garden out of touch? Is Wishbone Kitchen out of touch? Is Martha Stewart out of touch? They shot this show 2 years ago. Okay, she was not thinking about the economic recession of 2025 or any kind of inflation or how Americans will struggling day to day in the price of eggs when she was shooting this 2 years ago. Okay, not everything she does is an attack on your lives, your livelihoods to a certain demographic of women who just cannot tolerate anything she does. You cannot like her. You can think that she's saccharine and that she's overly earnest and, just like a Poindexter, which are the vibes that she gives. I find those things about her kind of endearing. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. But to have this seething, burning hatred for her that she can't, where she can't do anything right. And the second you see her, think of her, are reminded of her in any way, you have to verbalize your hatred. That's when there's something wrong with you. That's when you should really inspect what the fuck is going on in your head, in your heart, in your soul, because something's amiss, girly. She should not bring out this kind of rage in you. She absolutely should not. She's making a cheese board in a nice kitchen. It's not exactly revolutionary or revelatory, okay? She's not reinventing the wheel. She just happens to be a black girl doing it, and you guys are very, very mad. And it seems it's fucking strange. And her name is Meghan Sussex. You don't get to tell her what her last name is. She gets to decide. And guess what? She never said that she doesn't want to be she and Meghan never said, she and Harry never said that they want a private life and they never want to be in the spotlight again. All they have ever said is that they didn't want to be full-time royals. That's it. That's all that they have ever said. So I don't want to hear this, but they said they wanted privacy and now look at them in all their shows and podcasts and blah, blah, blah. That's just not the fucking case. And she's also allowed to decide what her being in the public eye looks like. She's allowed to have boundaries, especially with you feral hoes out there. What else? Also, in terms of their titles, they were given the title of Duke and Duchess of Sussex by the Queen. Right? That was never taken. They were given their patronages by the Queen. They were never taken away. They've never denounced their titles. They are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, period. All right? You cannot take that away from them. The only thing that they cannot use are His and Her Royal Highness, period. That is it. Okay? Cry about it. I don't know what to tell you. And in terms of their children being princes and princesses, okay, the grandchildren of the king are all princes and princesses. So when Her Royal Highness Princess Elizabeth II died and Prince Charles became King Charles, all of his grandchildren automatically, whether their parents are working royals or not, become prince and princesses. All right? And that doesn't change just because it makes you so mad. It doesn't change because, well, she's not a full-time working royal. Or, well, meh, meh, meh. It doesn't make a difference. Keep crying. You just look like a fucking freak. That's it. Just look like an absolute sad, desperate freak show. And keep watching her show, too. Keep hate watching it. It's just going to get her a third season. Like, get it together. Anywho, and that's it for today's episode of the Saron Things podcast. Tune in again on Tuesday for a new episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. You can find me on Saron Things everywhere on all my socials. Please follow me on YouTube to watch this on video. Podcasting can be heard on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys soon. Toodaloo!